I'm going to make your e-commerce business or SaaS company more profitable with one simple change. I'm going to explain exactly how to do it step by step. But there's a problem. Although there's only one thing you've got to do, it's got to be done just right. And that's what this video is all about. Now, whether we're talking organic traffic or paid for, or even social ads, most people are leading everyone to their individual product page or their pricing page. We need to change that. The whole point of this is we're going to have a really specific page that we're now going to push traffic to that's going to really skyrocket those conversions. Now, this is best suited to people selling online. So whether this is e-commerce or SaaS, you need to be selling something to really take advantage of this. So let's strap in and go. So let's start at the beginning. What most people are doing in their marketing strategies is they're trying to get everyone onto a conversion page as quickly as possible. And that makes sense, right? So we get them onto a page like this here with Nectar, and we've already had a little bit of context on our advertisement, and then we're going to push them to a page like this, and we're going to try get that user to buy there and then. And I guess the hope is that there's enough on this page that's going to do it. Now, as an e-commerce expert, this is a lot of what we spend our time in conversions, right? And you are going to get some really good conversions, especially if the page is well designed. But there's going to be those people who aren't quite ready to do that. So I'm going to introduce you something before we move on to this one trick. So let's show you a marketing funnel. Now, if we look at the very top, we've obviously got awareness. We've then got consideration, and then we've got conversion. Now, the ones further down is ones we've already started buying from you. So let's not worry about those today. I think this is the big mistake that a lot of people make with their advertisements is they come straight in at conversion. And that makes sense because we want the sale as quickly as possible, right? We just want them to convert because they've got that impulse to buy. And that does work. And we do know that works. But there's also something called intent. So they might not be quite ready for that for whatever reason. And the big trick and the big tip and the big twist that we're going to make today is we're going to focus a lot higher up in that funnel in that awareness and consideration area. So let's carry on with this mattress example I've already showed you with the product page. Now instead, let's look at this particular page, which is all around best sleeping position. Now you'll see there's some information around the introduction. They're talking around the different type of sleepers. You can then, it's interactive, so there's some additional elements on there. But they're then talking about all these different things that are very much related of value to someone who might be looking for a new mattress. They want to have an understanding around best positions for them and what that position means, and then what type of mattress they might need. So there's a lot of information that then gets pulled in here. And this is a really, really nice approach because we're talking about something that is relevant to someone who might be buying this product, but they're not quite ready to purchase. And this is going to be the big tweak that we're going to be making. So the big tip is let's not send all traffic just to the individual product pages. We do want to keep that traffic there, but there's going to be a lot of people still in that awareness and consideration stage. And instead, we're going to send them to this. So the big thing I want to take away is we're not just sending them to a blog page. Blog page is clearly, as the name would suggest, in a blog. It's just part of all of your content. It's going to feel very SEO led, and the user is going to know that. Instead, I'd like it to feel like a standalone page that's really designed to be a resource to help that user. If we can get that across and have some real valuable information in there, it's going to do a far better job at convincing the user that you're the right person for them. Now, the big takeaway with these style of pages is that we want to give loads of value, but we also want to give them that nudge as we're going through to remind them to say, hey, did you know we sell these mattresses? Hey, did you know we sell these mattresses? So constantly showing the value that we're going to have and then how your product relates to it might allow them to move from awareness straight into buying. Now, please also bear in mind that if they are in this awareness funnel still at this precise moment, we might not get the conversion there and then, and that is okay because you're already running your other advertising to remind them of this. So when they finally move to that consideration of, right, I'm ready to start buying mentality, they've already read about you, they've already heard about you, and if they see your advert again, then they might click on it and then buy, and that's what's going to skyrocket your conversion rate. So it's just taking that big step back and trying to look at it in a slightly different view. Now, the next thing to obviously consider is, well, what am I writing about, right? Like, what information am I going to give away as value to the user? And this will come back to when you're in your sales process and trying to understand what those potential objections are. So using Nectar as this example, they have an understanding that a lot of people will be coming in going, is this good for me because I sleep on my side? Is this good for me to sleep on my back? And they probably know this, like anyone that's bought a mattress goes through this, right? So you need to be able to identify that in your own business with your either your product or your SaaS company. What are the pain points? What are the considerations? What are the potential questions that your sales staff are being asked over and over and over again? And basically maybe interview them, find out what those are, take the top 5 things that you keep seeing pop up, and I would create content for each of those. Not only just create content, but as I've said, try and make them feel like really established pages. And the reason we want them to feel like established pages is these become evergreen content that we can use over and over again for lots of different marketing purposes, but we can then have call to actions throughout that content to push them to potentially buy. So if you're unsure on where to start with an objections point of view, why not put a comment below and explain what your business is, and maybe we can have a look together at what those might be. Now, when it comes to actually having your call to actions on the page, I don't think there's any issue with being quite blunt with it and just showcasing it here as these guys do, right? It's like, find the mattress for you. Here's 3 different options. Here's the different support. Here's the different cushioning. There's no issues with having the occasional strip of proper salesmanship amongst this value that you're giving away. You just need to make sure that it doesn't interrupt it too heavily, right? So really think that through. This is a lovely example that as you're just flowing down, it can just be in there. And they're even kind of putting some additional information around credibility building in here. These pages, at the end of the day, people understand there's going to be something at the end of it, right? There's going to be some form of salesmanship that's coming. Yes, let's give lots of value away, but let's try and tie it in with something to eventually get that sale too. Now, what you'll see with this style of work is that once we start to do this, it's going to make your marketing far simpler because you can funnel people to those pages first. And then once they've been on the site, we can start to retarget them by pushing back and showing adverts to the individual products. Now, for anyone who doesn't know what retargeting is where we put a pixel directly on your computer and then we follow you around the internet with advertising. So you may have seen this when you've been looking at a pair of trainers and then you go on Facebook or LinkedIn or any of those other platforms and that pair of trainers follows you around. That's because they're using retargeting. And it's the same idea here, that retargeting can obviously work well in that basis. But the first thing is, let's try and get them at awareness stage and then follow them around. It's a much cheaper form of advertising and it's going to skyrocket those conversion rates. And that's it, guys. We want to keep it really simple here. So don't just funnel everyone to those individual product pages. Really try and think through what those potential objections are and see if there's more that we can do with it. If you like what we've had to say, like, subscribe, share, comment, do your thing. Bye.